Luis Suarez has bitten 2 opponents. Defender Pepe almost broke Messi's fingers, and Ibrahimovic slapped a defender. But the worst happened when Hazard kicked a kid in the middle of a game. These are the moments when players went too far. In 2014 here in Brazil, Luis Suarez did something that became part of football history. It was during the World Cup, and Uruguay with Suarez was playing against Italy when the striker took a bite at Chiellini. That's right, Suarez bit the Italian defender without mercy. And this wasn't the first time he did it. According to the Independent newspaper, in 2013 during the Confederations Cup, the player had already attempted to bite Chiellini. Furthermore, in that same year, the striker, who was playing for Liverpool at the time, was banned for 10 games after biting Chelsea's Ivanovic. In 2010, while playing for Ajax in the Netherlands, he was suspended for 7 games for biting PSV's Otman Bakal. Yes, Suarez had a liking for biting opponents. Some doctors even suspected that this was some mental disorder of the player. Actually, before joining Barcelona, Suarez was quite hot-tempered. Look at what he did to Evra. Yes, he refused to shake hands with his opponent, and man, these two really didn't like each other. Evra has said that he almost got into a fight with Suarez on the street over a racism incident in a Premier League game, and he only didn't do it because the Uruguayan was with his daughters. Cristiano Ronaldo almost took a defender's life. This happened in a match between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid in the Copa del Rey semifinals. Real was already winning the match 3-0 when a disaster almost happened. During a counterattack, the ball was launched to Ronaldo, and he jumped to contest the ball with a defender. But the Portuguese used too much force, throwing his opponent forcefully to the ground, and he almost broke his neck. In the end, Cristiano received only a yellow card and carried the burden of almost taking someone's life just to win a ball. Messi also lost his cool and did something even worse. In a game against Real Madrid, he unleashed a super kick towards the rival team's fans and obviously got a lot of backlash for it. But this player did something terrible. He also lost his temper and kicked at the fans.
Gets called for it, boots it into the crowd. Says, oh.
When he realized he had hurt someone, he tried to go over to apologize, but nobody let him get anywhere near the lady and the boy he hit with the kick. But who really went over the edge was the defender Pepe. In fact, he did this a few times in his career. Pepe has always been known for being a violent defender, but this time, he crossed the line and almost broke Messi's fingers. The game was between Real Madrid and Barcelona, and it was tied 1-1 when a foul occurred. The referee got distracted for a moment to show a card when Pepe took advantage and stomped on the fingers of the Argentine. Messi was there, writhing on the field, while the referee tried to make sense of the situation. Oh, if only VAR had been there at that time, huh? In another match for Real Madrid, Pepe not only kicked his opponent's back, but also kept pressuring the forward when he was down. The guy was truly ruthless. But Hazard did something even more unacceptable. When he wore the Chelsea shirt, the Belgian played some great football, but in this game, he did something cruel against a child. The match was between Chelsea and Swansea, and when the ball went out for a goal kick, one of the ball boys, who was just a kid, held onto the ball. Hazard got irritated and did this to the boy.
Wow, that's inexcusable by Eden Hazard. There is no...
That kick to the ribs must have hurt a lot. As punishment, the player was suspended for 3 games. But nothing compares to what Zidane did at the end of a World Cup. The Frenchman is undoubtedly one of the greatest players of all time and a legend in France. But he could have been even greater if he hadn't lost his cool in the 2006 World Cup final. That would be Zidane's last game, and he dreamed of ending his career with another World Cup title. France was playing better in the match, and Zidane came close to scoring the winning goal. And that's when it happened. Materazzi, an Italian defender, said something in Zidane's ear that really angered the Frenchman. The midfielder, not known for committing violent fouls, lost his temper and headbutted Materazzi, resulting in his expulsion. Even with 1 player more, Italy couldn't score a goal, and the game went to penalties, where the Italians claimed the World Cup trophy. Zidane went from heaven to hell, from a perfect end to his career to a total disaster. But Neymar did something even worse. During a game against Colombia, he stepped on an opponent's back. And the worst part was Neymar's reaction when the foul was called. Check out the Brazilian's anger with the referee. But you can kind of understand all of Neymar's anger because a Colombian player did something that almost left him in a wheelchair. The game was in the quarterfinals of the 2014 World Cup, and it was Neymar's last match that year. The fullback Zuniga came from behind and delivered a violent knee to Neymar's back. The move was so ugly that the Brazilian fractured a vertebra, and according to him, it almost put him in a wheelchair.
Se fosse 2 centímetros para dentro, hoje eu poderia estar de cadeira de roda, né? Então é complicado você falar não.
So yeah, you can understand why he was so angry in the other game against Colombia. Ibrahimovic hit a player on the field. The Swede is known for losing his temper on the field, but this time he went too far. An opposing player accidentally stepped on his foot, and Ibra simply slapped the defender's head to get revenge. Obviously, the incident went to VAR review and resulted in a red card. And this wasn't the only time. In this play, the guy threw the ball into the goalkeeper's face and pretended he did it accidentally. Look at the elbow he landed on a player's face. No wonder he's a black belt in martial arts. But Ibra really caused a ruckus in France. He grabbed his opponent's neck in the middle of the match. And during this ball dispute with the goalkeeper, he kicked the chest of the keeper. That's practically a taekwondo move. But the worst almost happened in a match in the Italian league. The game was the famous Milan derby between Milan and Internazionale. After a foul was called on Lukaku, Ibra went after him and almost got into a brawl with the Belgian. My friend, the fight would have been intense. Look at the size of these two monsters. Thankfully, the referee managed to separate them before something worse occurred. Look at what happened in women's football. After a foul, one of the players simply walked over her opponent, literally speaking. Obviously, she received a straight red for that. Diego Costa was another one of those forwards who liked to provoke his defenders, but here he crossed the line. He stared down his opponent, then even bit his neck. The problem is that after all that, he just hugged the other player, and then the scene got kind of romantic, if you catch my drift. But that didn't convince the referee, who gave him a red card. See what Douglas Costa did. Juventus was winning the game when the Brazilian lost his cool for no reason at all. He went after the opponent and even landed an elbow when they both got up. This goalkeeper completely went over the line, a fan invaded the field, and the goalkeeper simply started kicking the guy. I know it's annoying when a fan interrupts a game, but nothing justifies hurting someone like that. This Brazilian player attacked the referee. During a Palmeiras game, a foul was called, and Dudu said something really nasty to the referee. As a result, he received a straight red card, and that made him lose his mind. The forward went crazy and charged at the referee. Obviously, he was suspended for that. But this incident was even more bizarre. The defender, Diego Carlos, was running to try to stop a counterattack from Mbappe when this happened. That's right. The guy went over the referee, who, if you look closely, even tried to get revenge by putting his foot out to trip the defender. In the end, the referee was so upset about being knocked down that he gave a red card to the defender, which, in my opinion, was quite unfair since the incident happened unintentionally. Speaking of players who crossed the line, this one here did an unacceptable celebration. The guy simply pretended to be sniffing something on the field, and what happened to him afterward will surprise you. Click on the video that's appearing on your screen and discover the celebrations that went too far.